And so, I think that's that's because you guys were the standard. It was like, there's other Harmony people out there, but they all were like, have you did a deal with Surepoint yet? And so I really thought that was super cool to be able to be that first name.
Well, I think they were respected. They knew you were efficient. You had a background in the lending business. Not all of the other private money lenders did. They may have been investors that morphed or got a little older and then they got into lending, which happens sometimes. But you were a lender that went from lending, residential loans to lending on the investment side and then private money loans.
And all we do is lend. A quick story?
Yeah, go for it.
So I wanted to go see how the sheriff's sale worked, the foreclosure sale downtown. So Frank Miller, who everybody knows here, I said, hey, I'll go down with you. Let me see how this works. And I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, if Frank is bidding on a property, because I was thinking maybe we flip some, right? I'll be an investor and we'd lend some. Because that's what all the other hard money lenders do. They are investors, like you said, and they also lend money. And I'm like, if Frank did 100 and then I raised my hand at 105 and he turned me and said, hey, Pum, I'm going to give you the loan. Stop bidding up my price. I went right back to the office and I told my two other partners, my brother is one of them, and said, we don't buy residential real estate in Louisville. And I think we're the only ones that don't. We don't compete with our clients. I have residential stuff way outside in the gorge, and I have some commercial strip malls, but we don't compete with that client. So if I get a deal, let's say Hampton calls me and says, hey, I got something, can you get rid of it? I call my clients to give my investor that deal. I don't take those deals. It does, I think, makes us different than everybody else.
You mentioned your brother there. He's a good-looking guy. We don't see him much anymore. It's like, you're twins, right?
We are twins, but
right.
He's like Bigfoot. You might get a sighting, but you're not sure if it's me or him. Yeah, he moved home for COVID and never came back to the office. So that's when Hampton became my sweet mates and we hung out together.
Yeah, I mean, the brother's super cool, and I work with him as a real estate agent. And so that is super cool. This episode is brought to you by our good friends at Surepoint Equity. They lend hard money, helping real estate investors move fast and fund smarter. With fast approvals, competitive rates, and decades of experience, Surepoint is the go-to partner for real estate. Visit SurepointEquity.com to learn more and get funded fast.
With the free pre-approvals if you need them. So,
yeah, of course, man. Yeah. And so, what's really cool is that, if you guys are, funding deals and helping people, I think you answered this question. You're not competing with us, which can't be said about everybody, right? It's really good that you're serving the investor community in this way, that you're looking out. What do you think are some of the best practices for some of these newer investors that want to get in the game? What are some best practices?
Well, this might surprise you. People like these two who started the Investor Tribe get a good mentor. I can vouch for these two. There are others around town that I know that are fairly good, but I know these two guys, and their podcast was next to me for many months. So I've worked with Hampton for probably 9 or 10 years now, Milton for 3 or 4. So a good mentor will keep you. It's not the ones you make a little money on. It's the $50K loss that's really going to hurt you. So these guys here, I would say, get a good mentor. Again, there are others around town. I know these two guys well, so I can recommend them. Get a good mentor so you won't lose that 50 grand, because 1 or 2 little things that they'll catch that you won't catch is going to make that deal go bad. I've seen it time and time again now. Hopefully your hard money lender is also doing a lot of due diligence behind it. We do. We don't just order an appraisal. We've been looking at appraisals for 25 years. So I'm looking at the grant pages, which you guys know what that means.
Oh, yeah.
I'm looking at your title. I'm an attorney as well. So I'm going to make sure there's no liens on there. So a good hard money lender is the second protection behind your investor trial people here. And then 3, don't go too big at the beginning. It can be tempting because a lot of the time, the larger the renovations, others don't want to deal with it. So there are bigger margins. But that means there's bigger room for trouble too. I mean, if you run into a structural issue or a foundation issue, 25, 30 grand, Hampton,
it can be.
Yeah, it can be. Yeah.
Real quick. And I just went out to a house because this was a newer person. It was a very unique property. I drove out 30 minutes. He had told me he looked at the house. He had not looked at the house, in my opinion. The wall was bowed about a foot. And he was trying to get $500,000 ARV, which Milton mentioned. And I said, that's going to cost you 40 grand to fix. Well, it's